There's a moment in Season 3 of that I don't believe gets enough attention. It's after Mark leaves the hospital room, only for Adam Eve's mother, Betsy, to call out to him. They become acquainted before she tells him this.
There was a girl who lived across the street from us, Valerie. She and Samantha played together when they were younger, but then drifted apart. She's dead. And our little girl is alive.
It's perfectly understandable why no one talks about this scene. Valerie was a character we barely saw, only to be seen in the Adam Eve special. In it, the main thing we see Val do is reject Adam Eve after seeing her powers. Even the freaking Invincible wiki lists that one of her defining traits is that she dislikes superpowers. She was so unimportant to this story, so it's perfectly normal to not even remember her. And yet, for some reason, this moment, knowing that Val had died in the Invincible War, hit me the hardest out of every scene. Now, there are plenty of hard hits throughout the series, so I have to question, why did this one stay with me the most? After mulling over this scene extensively, I have come to the conclusion that this scene was the most important scene in the entire show, and tells us exactly what Invincible is all about. Let me explain. At the core of the show, you might think the central theme is about change. After all, rather than being an episodic series where each episode is self-contained, Invincible is a show with long-form storytelling elements with deep character development and continuous plot lines. So we get to see lots of characters change throughout the show. For example, Omni-man changes his beliefs against his Viltrumite indoctrination. Mark comes to terms with his DNA, his relationships, and the responsibilities of being a superhero. Even Rexplode went from a condescending jerk to the king of our hearts. But this scene rejects the notion that Invincible is about change. Rather, Invincible is a show about conservatism. In a more traditional sense, defined as the tendency to prefer an existing system or situation and to be cautious about or suspicious of change, conservatism is the rejection of change. When examining the scene in this light, we can see that Val is a textbook conservative.
She wasn't out fighting anyone or putting herself in any danger, but she's dead.
She's presented with the moment that would change her life, the moment that Adam Eve showcased her powers. Yet in that moment, she didn't embrace the change it would bring. She rejected it, wanting her life to stay the same, to have the existing systems that allow her to live in her state of peace be perpetuated. It's understandable and easy to empathize with that situation. Change is scary. It upsets and flips your belief of the world on its head, especially when it's your best friend showcasing the power to literally change the molecular structure of everything. For Val, rejecting change was comforting. She'd rather reject the ever-changing nature of the world and those around her to attempt to live her life without being bothered. Until she couldn't. It's here where, during the conversation between Mark and Betsy, that Invincible makes the bold claim that conservatism equals death. Being rooted in your beliefs and bigotry only lends yourself to an end to your importance. Valerie isn't the only character that this message is conveyed. Throughout the show, numerous characters embody that same message, that if they don't embrace the changing nature of the world, they've chosen to embrace death instead. For example, had Omni-man stayed true to his Viltrumite beliefs, he would have been honorably executed for his treason. By allowing change to happen for Alan to get through to him, he gets the chance to live. His story continues because he adapted to an ever-changing universe. Even Cecil Stedman notoriously employs ex-supervillains, forcing them to work for him. Not because he knows that they can change, that people have the capability to become better people, it's that they have to change. There's no other option, because if they don't change, they die. Every character follows a transformational path, from Robot to Adam Eve and even Oliver, because they don't have choice. Finally, had Mark stuck to his no-kill rule, a rule that is both honorable and stupid against incredibly powerful and destructive beings, who knows what the future would be? Because it wouldn't have had Invincible. This is the core theme that Invincible wants to convey. No matter which universe it is, and Invincible has a lot of universes, everything is always changing, because change is inevitable. Our world will never be the same as it used to be, especially because of factors that are entirely out of our control, like the existence of superheroes. And even when there are factors within people's control, these factors that have consequential impacts on your day-to-day life and future, they choose to ignore enacting positive change, instead opting for archaic and unreasonable traditions, like the Viltrumite philosophy of conquering worlds. Invincible states that conservatism, at its core, is a logical fallacy, an appeal to tradition, and deeply rooted in an emotional response. Making things great again isn't logical. You can never go back and live in a world our parents did. That world is gone, and nothing ever stays the same. The only opportunity is to not make things great again, but to adapt to make things better than they currently are. If you reject it, then only death awaits. Yet strangely enough, with the idea that conservatism is death, the show showcases how spoiled we are with death. After all, the title character of the show is. So understanding that Valerie had died, just like many characters throughout the show, we can see that life has to go on, continuously changing with the absence of those we lost. And we have that privilege, should we choose to accept this change, to have our stories continue. Just like the legend Donald Ferguson, who adapted to life after who knows how many accidents. Had he not accepted change, however, his death would have been a permanent stop, a cut to black, with nothing left for your chapter in this story. Sometimes, that's what we think we want. After a significant change in your life, such as the loss of a loved one, we can long for stability, to root ourselves into a conservative idea of a lifelong past. Like Debbie and Mark, coming to terms with the crimes committed by Omni-man. For some, when this change becomes too tough to stomach, we can long for an end to our suffering, and sometimes to our current lives. Because some can be enamored by a past that will never return. When I was 18, I had planned for my chapter to close. This is a concept that I've mentioned many times on my videos. But Invincible shows us that we need to keep fighting, even if that battle is extremely difficult, because we have the unique privilege to accept and embrace change while we still can. After all these years, I wear this as a badge of honor. Not that I was planning on my story to end, but that my story still continues. I didn't stop changing. People often falsely say it gets better. As I see the world burn around us, as destruction reigns in many facets of our lives, our world can rapidly change into something that won't be better. So why or how can we keep going? How can the world move on after so much destruction? It's because, just like the world, we change. It's because we get better. Invincible reminds us that we need to change, to become stronger and better than we were before, and not be prevented by the conservative views aiming to stop us from fighting to save our ever-changing world. If we can accept that change, to have our stories develop into lasting tales of heroism, then we won't end up like Valerie. Perhaps, one day, we will all be. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, then please subscribe and consider checking out my other video essays, as well as my Patreon in the description. Thank you.